Good morning, gamers. We are back. My name is Bobby Joe. There's my boy, Bobby Jack. We're Hype Shoutcasting on the 7am channel for the second day of the third week of Open Tour qualifiers. With a quarter final between which two teams, Bobby Jack?
Team 1 and Team 2. Team
Red and blue side.
Red and Blue side. Iron Squad and Dutch Community Swaggers. I think they should change their name as of now.
Well, if they win, they are swaggers. If they lose,
That's true. They are.
it stay the same.
Yes. Anyways, it is between Iron Squad Academy and the Dutch Community team, who we saw yesterday win the group 3-0. So they're on a little bit of a high. I don't know how Iron Squad ended in their group. Do you?
Well, I can give it a little sneak peek here, and they ended 3-0 as well. And
Damn.
maybe an important note for these quarterfinals: there is no Trill Academy this time around. They didn't play in this week's qualifiers since Trill. They did win the two previous Open Tour qualifiers, so this week there will be another winner, so everyone can go for it. There is no Goliath standing in their way for that top spot this week. So if you wanna get the first spot, and this week might be the one to do it. And I'll throw a little bit of the scores on the screen for you guys. As you can see, Iron Squad and Dutch Community team both did very well in the past qualifiers. Iron Squad a little bit higher, so purely based on the scores, they would be the preferred winner of this best of three. But of course, you never know how it goes. They're both doing very well.
They are both on the 3-0 hype train. So yeah, they of course want to stay undefeated through the rest of this tournament. And as you said, Thrill not playing, so that means everybody the victory is up for grabs. Where before it was, of course, the same thing. Victory is always up for grabs, but Thrill was really dominating the scene, and they clearly had some crazy stuff going on, which put them ahead of the rest of the teams. And yeah, today there's no stress of possibly ending up against the Thrill Academy. So yeah, they're gonna be able to go all out here on this third qualifier. Second day, first game. Damn. First game of the second day of the third qualifier.
Look at the first sun on the seventh day. Look to the east.
It's the first. It's the first. Wait, it's the first game on the second day of the third qualifier in the fourth split.
Yes, that is how you can put it.
Right?
All right. And I hope everyone is still with us, because I'm sure as hell not, as we are waiting for the draft to get started. When we look at these two teams, of course, they've had an amazing performance in their own groups yesterday. What kind of picks do we expect from them specifically? Are there any pocket picks that we are looking for, or is it gonna be a little bit different? Are there just gonna be the classic Viego, Gwen, Akali, that jazz gonna be picked?
Diego, Gwen, Akali are all three of them are a possibility for probably for both teams. Iron Squad has a little bit more playtime on the champions, I believe. Mainly on the jungler. However, of course, yeah, the rest of the other team, DCT, of course, has the possibility of playing them as well. However, we do have Dutch Community team with something like the Gragas, for example, got banned against them yesterday because it was clearly, an issue because they have two players, top lane and jungle, who really like playing the Gragas, or at least used to play it a lot, and it's still a decent champion, so they don't really want to give that away to the one-trick Thornton, who we yesterday did see play really well on the Hecarim as well. So it's not like he only has the Gragas up his sleeve. He can do more than enough without it. So yeah, it's the Gragas mainly, and then of course Viego, Gwen, Akali, things that we're expecting, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm kind of working out something in the screen here for the draft, so you can view the draft a little bit more if you want while I'm fixing this.
Yes, too. What is happening? Aside from that, we do have the mid laner on the side of Ion Squad, who last week we saw play quite a lot of Corki. He played only Corki, I believe. One game he didn't, and then it was against, I believe it was against Thrill, which they lost. Not 100% sure anymore. So the Corki is to be expected there as well in the mid lane for Ion Squad. Or they might ban it away. Last week they didn't ban it. It wasn't banned against them. They won twice. The third time it wasn't banned against them either. But then they had the Zed, which completely pooped on Corki, and he was worth basically nothing. So there's things like that. GG Sir in the bottom lane, he has Karthus, for example, as an option. We saw that last week as well. So those are kind of a little bit more special picks. I'm not 100% sure what the thing is with substitutes. Last week I played with 2 subs. I'm not sure if they have any
and
subs.
They still clean it, even with the 2 subs. So
they played really well with 2 subs. And I'm not sure how many subs they have today or this week. And if, for example, Damelot is playing or not. He didn't last week. And
well, I don't think
sure
that Azeron is a basic member of their academy team as well, right? It says Sector 1 Azeron, so it might be a little bit of a trade-off with Sector 1, I don't know.
Maybe he used to be Sector 1 and he just hasn't changed his name. I don't know. Maybe he's a sub. I have no idea. I haven't seen him yet.
See, that makes it interesting. We can expect anything, but I still expect like the basic OPs. Of course, same as yesterday. Tam Kench still banned from this week's qualifiers, as well as the two new items and Dr. Mundo. As the draft has begun, let's giggity go!
Oh, we do see the draft here underway. As Viego and Ezreal are the first 2 bans coming out here from Dutch community team, and Iron Squad. Actually, Iron Squad is waiting a little bit with Ezreal ban. Not 100% sure they want to ban that against DCT. We saw For Arrogance play it yesterday, I believe. He played that pretty well and does get banned away. The Viego is out. We're expecting maybe the Gragas ban to come through. Maybe the Corki ban, Viego, Karthus. Those kind of strange things are coming out. The Lulu does get banned away, and that's also because GG Sir really likes to play Kog'Maw. They don't want to see the combination of those 2 in the bottom lane.
Yeah, banning away the Lulu is hurting Kog'Maw a lot. However, there are some substitutes for that, as the Karma is still open. Does a fairly similar job to the Lulu, but it's not gonna matter. They're banning them both away. They know that they can ban every good support with the Kog'Maw out, so they just say, hey, you know what, Lulu is horrible, Kog'Maw is horrible. They both won't make it through the first banning phase, so they are out. Gragas is gonna get banned against Dutch community team, because of course it is a good flex between their top laner and jungler. But of course the Akali is open. Viego is banned, but Gwen is also open, so Akali Gwen might be priority picks if they wanna go the meta route. However, the Dutch community team had a good run on Hecarim yesterday as well, so I would not be surprised if they picked that up early in the draft as well.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of options for them here. It does turn out to be Karma. It's something they... Wait, was it Dutch community team that... I think Dutch community team yesterday picked up the Karma as well against Viacali, and that worked out really well for them versus 7am Academy. And so they pick it up again, actually kind of telling Iron Squad, you can go Akali, but then we'll just go Karma mid, and it won't matter for me. As Iron Squad does pick up the Gwen, and the Akali.
Yeah, that's the danger. You leave them open, they will get locked. That does, of course, mean that Ion Squad Academy already has 2 huge damage threats, but no front line. So I'm guessing that they will compensate with that in the support department, as we often see in the current playstyle that these teams have. But yeah, what are you gonna play against Akali and Gwen? We've seen Sylas being picked up more often than not in these lanes. But they are going for comfort with Hecarim. Had a huge game against 7M with this pick yesterday. Really showed what he could do. Thornton is definitely comfortable on this champion.
Yeah, Thornton was everywhere on the pony yesterday, the horse.
Even though the nerves on the movement speed, I mean, doesn't hold it back.
With, of course, his devastating charge, which just gives him movement speed. Ghost is still in there. Karma is next to him as well. And this is basically the same comp they drafted yesterday against 7am. They had Wukong, they had Hecarim, they had Karma. So, you know, they're just picking up where they left off, basically, and going for picks that gave them the 3-0 win in the group yesterday. I mean, sure, why not? If you're comfortable with doing it, and then you just do the same thing again, never change your winning team. And it works against Gwen and Akali just fine, these picks. So there's no reason not to go for it. As Fiora is going to be the last pick, and that's for Bad Pie.
This is like 3 champions that can potentially just split you to death in any stage of the game. And I'm guessing Gwen will be going jungle in this case. Fiora will be taking over the top lane, Akali on the mid lane. That is how you would usually see this. Fiora against Wukong, feel like it is more than not a skill matchup. Both can do something in this lane. Varus being banned away against for arrogance, but the Ashe is still open, and we've seen that he just loves to play this Ashe so much, but looks like Iron Squad isn't scared of that at all.
His Varus is taking away something he likes to pick up as well as the Senna. I haven't seen him really, or it doesn't really pop up on his history either that he plays the Senna. That being said, it is banned away as Zilean gets taken away from Iron Squad, which is pretty interesting. Didn't know they played it that much, but the Ion and the Draven. Ooh, is it the Draven one trick on the side of Ion? No, it's GG, sir. There is no Draven.
Could be. Would love to see me some Draven though in this in this draft, but I'm not sure if they're gonna take it out. They have a really skirmish heavy team right now, but they don't have any solid engage tools. So I am guessing they are going to go for something like the Nautilus or the Leona to compensate. And oh my god, they just locked in the Vayne. Vayne against Hecarim is pretty solid. Actually one of the few carries that can guide effectively against this horse once he is sped up by the Karma. So that is a good pickup. The question is, what are they gonna put next to her? They do have a lot of options. Tristana being hovered, and I like Tristana because she can jump away from all these threats that are on the side of Iron Squad Academy, but everything will depend on this mid lane. It is Kai'Sa. Ooh, that is aggressive jumping for her.
Gonna be Kai'Sa eventually. I think Karma's gonna go mid here for Dutch community team because of the fact that they did it yesterday. It works well against Akali with the tether, showing Akali effectively neutralizing the shroud that Akali can use otherwise. So something like, there it is, a Nautilus is definitely okay. Also, we've seen the Kai'Sa Nautilus, of course, in the past. Very good combination. The CC on Nautilus gives Kai'Sa a lot of time to put her stacks down onto the enemy. And then they have a lot of frontline and a lot of damage on the side of Dutch community team. And of course, once again, Karma into Akali. Very playable for Karma.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit divided on the Nautilus pick. I like it in general, but it's just annoying because you're against the Vayne. She's gonna Shrek Nautilus, doesn't matter how tanky he is in the lane. Just Vayne, yeah. She ignores all your resistance, of course, with that true damage. Eventually Braum is picked up there, and I feel like Iron Squad would have preferred the Nautilus pick on their side. So that's why I do think it's a good pick for Dutch community team, just because they pick it away from Iron Squad as well. But we'll see how this lane goes, because, I mean, if Braum gets his stack on Nautilus, Vayne can hit. It's gonna be very dangerous there for him, because he will not be able to tank that much. And yeah, These drafts have been concluded. Who do you give the edge here? Who won the draft? Is it Niels' crazy crazy draft all over again, or does Dutch community team have a chance here in this matchup?
They have a chance. They have the 5-man team fighting combo stuff. The problem is that on the side of Iron Squad, there's so much dashes and they have a ton of ways to basically get away from what Dutch community team wants to throw at them. So it's going to be hard to catch them out, and the fights on the side of Iron Squad are going to be very hectic and a lot of in-your-face damage. You don't really know basically what to do, who to take down, who are we focusing. And then there's just a big Braum in front of them, basically negating like 70% of the damage thrown towards Iron Squad. So I think Iron Squad is better. If Dutch community team, however, gets ahead and they're able to group as 5 and just roll over Iron Squad and kind of catch them off guard, they could take the win here.
I feel like an important factor for Dutch community team will be if High Ego is strong or not. If Wukong is not where he needs to be when the fights break out, then it's gonna be hard because they only have Zaya that really will be doing the consistent damage. I mean, yeah, Karma base damage is there, but she's gonna build support in this case probably. And Hecarim, he's basically the one that needs to go for the Vayne, but I don't see a world where Hecarim can touch Vayne with a Braum next to her. So Wukong will be the guy that makes the difference in these fights, especially like who are you gonna focus as Dutch community team? I mean, Gwen, Akali, Fiora, Vayne, they're all so strong in their own department that they can get the resets once they get rolling. So it is definitely a scary lineup for them to play against.
Yeah, at this point, I think Ion probably still has the edge, just because of the fact that they have Gwen and Akali kind of helps, of course. They have potential to go into team fights. They have potential to be very disruptive in those 5v5s. They also have potential to split push with Fiora. I don't think there's anyone on the side of Dutch community team that can answer a Fiora split push later on into the game. There's no one that really beats her in the 1v1 if it does get that far. And then Dutch community team is going to be in quite a pickle to answer that if Iron Squad decides to go for a 4-in-1 situation later on.
Yeah, I don't know how the Wukong fares into Fiora. I feel like in the laning phase there is a fair chance that he wins the lane. Late game, yeah, Fiora is just so oppressive and crazy with that true damage. I mean, I cry every time when I play a tank against Fiora. She just does like 3000 true damage with the ult alone, that you're like, okay, that's nice that I bought health and resistances, but you don't care. But Wukong, I feel like he always has an option to outplay someone with the trickster ability. I mean, I wouldn't say he can't win, but late game it'll be definitely Fiora favored.
Exactly, yeah, so that's what I said, because yeah, that's it's gonna be really difficult to have an answer to a Fiora late on in the game on the side of Dutch community team. They don't really have that. They need to get some early aggression going. They need to get some early pressure, early kills, and then start to kind of take some drakes, move as 5 over the map, catch out some people on the side of Iron Squad on the side of Iron Squad here. Otherwise, it might be rather difficult for them to retaliate the damage that Ion is gonna be able to pump out.
That being said, we are still waiting for the effective in-game draft to begin, because they're waiting on the AD carry for Iron Squad Academy. He's not connecting in the lobby yet, so while we are waiting for this, we can still talk a little bit more about this draft. Lane per lane, I can see the bot lane here. The Kai'Sa Nautilus against the Vayne Braum. Vayne, usually seen as an AD carry that is enormously powerful late game, you know. When she gets those items in, like the 3 item marks, she can start Vayne spotting, really kiting everyone, doing so much damage, three-shotting other squishies, melting tanks. And in the laning phase, she is supposed to be weak. And I'm saying supposed to be because I've seen Vaynes in the laning phase that are also oppressive. How do you see it in this lane with the Braum next to her, where she can utilize his passive? Will this be a lane where they have to give up all the prio, or are there actually opportunities for them to fight back against Kai'Sa Nautilus?
Of course, the fact that they have the Vayne juke abilities, there's some juking possibilities on the Vayne against the Nautilus hooks. Of course, Nautilus hooks are the hitbox is a lot broader and a lot longer.
Isn't that a click-on?
Sometimes you would think it is a click-on.
I thought I read that in the patch that they adjusted the tooltip, like, oh yeah, it's not a skill shot, it's actually a click-on, but it was just a visual bug in the game.
It was all along a click-on, but they only just patched it as in the tooltip.
And they changed the description as well. Curves around minions. It says if you press shift on the abilities, can curve around the minion wave.
If you've seen Wanted, you know what it's like.
Yeah, exactly.
Then hooks can curve around minions and walls. Champions, doesn't matter. Just if you throw it at the right angle, it will curve onto you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. All jokes aside, as you say, Vayne should not get hit by that red line, right? Should not get hit.
Yeah, shouldn't get hit. And then of course Kai'Sa is pretty short range as well. Of course Vayne is too, but then if the hook goes wide, Braum could jump in, hit his Q onto Kai'Sa, onto Nautilus even. As you said before, Vayne is going to shred through Nautilus either way, so it doesn't really matter. Once the stacks come down, once Vayne has some attack speed in there, it's gonna be pretty difficult for them to get out of that one. So Nautilus is gonna have to be really careful with throwing out those hooks. The same thing with Thresh and Blitzcrank. Having the hook is a lot of pressure. Throwing it and missing it means we have no more pressure. And if he does throw and miss, and Vayne Braum is in position to kind of jump onto them, gonna have a difficult time. So Vayne Braum definitely have some possibilities in this lane.
As I can see, I feel like they have found a substitute for GG Sir here. It's Desrim taking his spot here, and I believe we saw him last week, also playing for Iron Squad Academy. Had a good performance as well, and he's gonna take over the AD carry role here in this match. So they are gonna start, which is of course great, because we do not want to see a forfeit here. Of course, in the quarterfinals, we want to see some great matches in this best of 3. As the draft has started, so they are locking in the champs that we've seen previously. So bot lane, okay, can go back and forth. Should be some counterplay possibilities for the Vayne. Kai'Sa as well needs to scale, of course, not the biggest oppressor in the lane. Of course, she needs those evolved abilities to really stack out her opponents, especially the Captain Rain ones that is double the amount of shots. That can be so nasty if you're the individual target taking all the damage. It's not gonna happen here in the laning phase, of course. Then mid lane, we're looking at an Akali. What do you feel when we see an Akali these days, Bobacek?
It's strong.
It's strong. A lot of knives.
Akali's in a pretty good position. Gets picked up a lot with the Riftmaker, of course. There's just a lot of outplay potential on Akali. If you want to call it outplay, of course. Other people like to call it button bashing. It's a little bit more outplay, of course. Timing-wise, it's not as easy as it might look. Of course, we did see Kegrimbo play the Karma into the Akali yesterday as well, and that did play out really well for them. Combined with the Hecarim, early kill on the Hecarim as well, first blood onto the Akali. So, Akali's strong, sure, but Karma is strong as well against Akali. So it should be fine. The thing for me is when I see Iron Squad's first 3 picks, I'm just scared by the damage. It's just too much.
Yeah, the thing we talk about, it's a quadruple threat on the side of Iron Squad. It's too much damage. But laning phase alone, I feel Karma is like the neutralizer. It's one of those picks like a Morgana or anything that you can just put in a lane and that's gonna be an equal lane. There's not gonna be much skill pressure on you because you can just clear the wave. You have the shield, you have the heal. So I don't expect Achilles here to come out of the lane fed with the Akali. Minion fed maybe, but normally it's gonna be just a clear neutral lane for both sides. And then top lane, that is the one that I'm curious about. I mean, bad buy on Fiora against Haigo and Wukong. It's always the same if you have two bruisers. They're gonna want to trade each other, and the question is who's gonna trade harder, who's gonna be able to sustain. And in that last one, I feel like Fiora might have the edge because normally she builds lifesteal early on. So if she can get one back with 900 gold, she might opt to go for the lifesteal and just out-sustain Haigo's Wukong there. And that's what I'm afraid of. Maybe the jungler is going to focus there, but that is also the question. Where are these junglers going to go when you have all these damage threats? I mean, Thornton wants to do damage control. He doesn't want a certain lane to get fed, or he wants to bring one of his lanes ahead. What is the best strat? You as the main jungler of the two of us? Where would you go if you are a pony in this matchup?
The pony. I think bottom lane is going to be a skill matchup, and you can just basically either let them 2v2. Once one jungler starts focusing it and the other one doesn't, I think is just going to be a big advantage for them. But as said before, I think it's a skill matchup in this 2v2, where it's a combination of hitting skill shots, juking skill shots, and good timing. I think if Thornton just does the same thing as he did yesterday, of course yesterday he basically focused every lane, but he did have some special treatment for the Akali, and I think that's a good idea to go there again. You have the tether from Karma to leave Akali in place, and so I think if Thornton kind of stays with the mid lane here, he should be fine. Of course, he has the extra movement speed, which gives him the extra AD, gives him extra damage, so that's definitely a good thing. On the other hand, Gwen's gonna know this. Is he gonna sit there to counter gank? Is he gonna go, for example, towards the bottom lane to help the Vayne Braum extend their lead? You know, those are kind of things I would look at.
Can Gwen do a lot early? I mean, we've seen Gwen jungle yesterday, and it was a little bit of a sleeper jungler. Wasn't really ganking much. So don't know where she has options, because of course you do have lanes that have barely any crowd control for setup. Gwen doesn't have a stun either, and that's the trade-off that you make with these heavy damage split pushers, that they usually do not have that solid lockdown that you do have in other lanes, like Karma has lockdown, Nautilus has lockdown. You basically only have the Braum and the Vayne where you can gank for if they get it off, but it's not it's not a 100% sure lockdown. You need to get the stacks off, you need to be able to pin them against the wall. Akali doesn't have anything, Fiora doesn't have anything either if she can't get the parry off. So I feel like it's not that easy for Gwen to gank the lanes. I would expect her to do counter ganks or just full clears in her jungle until she scales, and that does give Thornton time to make plays on the map himself.
There's not a lot of CC on the side of Iron Squad, that's definitely a thing. Of course, if Gwen combines with Akali or Fiora, for example, do you really need CC with that amount of damage? If there's no flash on Karma, for example, sure, she can speed herself up. If she's caught a little bit out of position, a little bit too far forward, Gwen can get in behind her. Akali hits her, E can dash on top of her, has the double dash in the ult as well. Karma doesn't really have a way to get out of that, and there's just too much damage to deal with.
Yeah,
and there are definitely possibilities.
I get what you're saying. The best crowd control is, of course, death, and that is what they have in their team. Plenty. We are in the loading screen. We are almost in the game after this long draft. I hope that our analysis hasn't snoozed anyone off by now, because everyone knows what these lanes can do. I'm especially looking forward to this bot lane to see how Deserim's Vayne will turn out, because of course the Vayne is always fun to watch. It's not picked that often because tanks aren't being played, and Vayne is just a hard champion to play correctly, definitely in high elo. So we'll see how he does that. As we're gonna go in this first game of this Open Tour qualifier today. Third week, no Trill Academy. Win up for grabs.
Win is up for grabs, exactly, as the first game is gonna be underway very, very soon, as both teams are in loading screen, getting ready to load into the Rift. Of course, we're 3 minutes behind, so they're probably already in the Rift. Probably paused the game already, because that's what we're expecting every Open Tour, every day, every game. Nothing too crazy here in the runes and masteries, of course. And Ion Squad, the Dutch community team, I think they're really well matched here. I think it's going to be a close one.
I do feel like, if you have to ask me, that Niels did win the draft here. I think it's impressive if Dutch community team knows with their draft how to handle all these threats on the side of Ion Squad. So I do give them the edge on that department, but it will depend. It's definitely not the case that a Dutch community team can't win here, but it's going to be super hard for them. I also see that Bad Pie and Desrim both have almost 400k mastery on respectively Fiora and Vayne. That's a lot. I mean, you sometimes see people with 1 million and stuff, but those are one tricks. I mean, they play other champions as well, and they still have almost 400k mastery. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think they know pretty well how to play these champions, these matchups. And the Rift is starting to be loaded up here between Ion Squad Academy and the Dutch community team. Both teams haven't lost a game yet in this Open Tour. So, they both went 3-0 in the group phase. And looking to, of course, continue that trend onward into the next quarterfinal here. We're onto the Rift, Ion Squad Academy versus Dutch community team. First game in this best of 3 quarterfinal. Of course, the winner goes through to the semifinal. Loser falls off and gets 200 points, I believe. And then it continues to 400 and then 700, I think it is, for the winner. And then, of course, they're all playing for a spot in the
closed circuit.
The closed circuit. I don't know why I said not closed circuit.
That's the one. Oh, they are looking for an invade here.
They are gonna find the flash hook from Funny Split. Bipolar needs to dash out of this one. He doesn't have the flash. He has the ignite. The ghost, ignite is ticking onto him. He goes out of there. He's gonna survive. That was close.
I synced up a little bit because I feel like I was a little bit behind. Of course, sometimes the client does lag a little, so we need to make sure that we are on the right timing. But yeah, clean. They already got the summoner for Bipolar, but they did trade all the summoners for Funny's play, meaning that they do have a little bit less impact in that bot lane right now. I have to see if Ion Squad Academy is able to capitalize on that one. Of course, Ghost cooldown isn't as long as the cooldown from Flash, so I feel like that was a fine trade for Ion Squad, really.
Yeah, and Funny's play on the Nautilus is not gonna is not running Hex Flash either. So throwing his flash into the fray early on puts him behind a little bit. There's a little bit less aggression, that's gonna be able to come out from him here.
I do like it though, that you go for the aggressive early on. It's definitely the right call. If they're able to get that first blood, that is a good way to snowball one of your lanes already.
Yeah, it's gonna help them. It could have helped them out, It's not gonna really help them out eventually. He doesn't have the ignite, he doesn't have flash. Of course, ignite is past half the cooldown already. Isn't that long of a cooldown. And in the top lane, Ego pop in level 2 before Bad Pie. And is gonna be able to go in here. Bad Pie's gonna need to be careful a little bit. He lost it in the exchanges. And that's Wukong level 2, yeah.
Yeah, levels early, and of course his dash is so good in the early levels with that increased attack speed. He's able to trade very effectively against these other bruisers. Of course, this passive stack from Fiora. For some reason, when you play Fiora, it's always right in front of your forehead. That stack is just so incredibly annoying to play against. And that makes sure that Bad Pie is able to trade back, but still, I feel like High Ego has the priority for now in that lane. Bipolar, top side as well.
Mid lane, Akali with the fleet footwork, giving her a little bit more survivability in the poke lane that is Karma. We saw it yesterday, Akali definitely having some issues there. Of course, fleet footwork is going to help Achilles survive a little bit longer as the empowered Q gets thrown at his face. Yeah, it's just an annoying lane for Akali to play early on, but he's not allowed to whine about it because he's Akali, so deal with it.
Yeah, that's the thing these days. Like, you can be like, oh yeah, I got a penta on Akali, and then everyone's like, yeah, but you're Akali. So it is the trade-off that you make with that champion. But you know, if you get it, it's still fine, and they get a good hook on Azeron. Oh no, the stun on the turret.
That's an insane hook, but it's a stun under turret. It's gonna be enough. Desrin playing that really well. And with a flash in the back, being able to secure that kill just in case Nautilus would have found
Thornton has ghosted. He ghosted.
It's gonna come through. Thornton with the ghost.
Pin!
Great condemned by Desrim. Is it gonna be enough? No, it's not, as Desrim picks up the kill. Meanwhile, Azaedon trying to take down Kai'Sa, not gonna be enough. And the fight in the mid lane is going on as well, as Achilles gets rooted, gets taken out under half HP. That's the trade one for Kekberino. And Dutch community team comes out on top here in the early game.
That is so well salvaged from Thornton there, because of course Funny's play getting stunned there under turret. Wasted his summoners early on in the jungle when, of course, trying to get the pick on Bopiler jungle, and now he is in trouble there under the turret. Gets picked up by Iron Squad Academy, but eventually Thornton is able to trade back as top lane goes very low on both sides. Iego needs to watch out, has that stack on top of him, and of course, you do not want to get that Fiora snowballing from the early game.
And with Hecarim being down in the bottom lane, Gwen is able to do a small invade on the ponies. Wolves is going to get out of there. Is on top of... No, that's his own word, sorry. Is on the top side of the map, however, so they know
the dive.
Looking for a dive here in the top lane. Teleport's going to come through. High Ego tries to retaliate, and that's just... Yeah, that's just a teleport.
Yeah, I feel that's the right call from Kekberimbo there. Thornton was on his way, but I don't think he would have been on time with his ghost being down to save his top laner there. So yeah, that is definitely the right call. It is a little bit sour sometimes when you need to pay to another lane and there doesn't really happen anything. But you know, you saved a life. Your score might not change, but in your heart you know you did the right thing.
You did the right thing. Good job, buddy.
Good job, Kekberimbo.
Yeah, we saw the bottom lane of Iron Squad really showing, you know, the possibilities, as we said before. If the hook, I mean, the hook didn't go wide by Funny Space.
Oh, there it is again.
Flash in onto the Vayne, and that's Hecarim right there. Desrim is gonna go low, he's gonna go down for Arrogance picking that one up. That's a good kill for the Kai'Sa. 2-1-0, as opposed to a 1-2-0, and he's gonna lose some farm as well.
Yeah, Thornton had a great game on Hecarim yesterday and is doing it as well in this matchup against Iron Squad Academy. 1-0-2, a lot of pressure on the bot lane, and he's making sure that they can pick up that first Drake. And I'm a little bit divided on the Drake objective, because often people say, yeah, it's not that important, those early Drakes, but you know, when later on an Ocean Soul is on the table, then that early Drake is so good that you were able to pick it up. Of course, next one is the Infernal Drake, so Infernal Rift will not be here.
First Drake of the game for Dutch community, and they're doing really well here, picking up the first couple of kills. Of course, there was the return there in the bottom lane with an insane stun on a turret. I think that was a max range turret range stun hook.
Nice.
Brom. You know what I mean.
Definitely. It was good.
Good job, little buddy.
Good job. Oh, there, Bipolar.
Not gonna work out.
No, Bipolar says, that is my blue buff, I'm gonna snip it, and I don't want to see you here. And of course, it's as expected, Bipolar doesn't really do anything on the Gwen but farm. And it's simply relying on the fact that the champion is so strong that the impact later in the game will be enough to compensate for the pressure that is not being put onto the enemy right now. But we'll see if that is the right call, because of course he's running with the Ghost. I haven't seen that a lot on Gwen. You usually see that they run Ignite Smite, or if they're top lane, Ignite Teleport. But maybe Ghost is the way to go, I don't know. I guess there is a lot of chase down potential for her with that summoner, but a little bit less burst damage.
Yeah, a lot of Gwen's going for the extra aggressive summoner with the ignite. Because of the dashes and the, the fact that she can't get hit, for example, gives her a lot of escape. So they don't get invaded themselves, but they go for the invade. The hook goes wide as the popcorn gets used to get out of that one. Now they're pinging a lot here. Teleport is going to come down as well. Iron Squad's going to have to... This one, Cyclone is going to come through. Number 1, Cyclone number 2 should come through as well. Great onslaught of Shadow's going to fear.
Ego.
People down Gwen. He's going to go down. Desrin with the condemn. Is it going to be enough? No, the killer instinct from Kaiser on for arrogance is going to come through as Achilles is not visible for Thornton. He's not going to go for that 1v1 trade. Tries to push in mid lane now, and another win here for Dutch community team. Thornton goes low. Achilles on the Akali needs to be careful. Dashes out of the aggression, and they're going to go for a Rift Herald as well.
That was a fine trade for Dutch community team. I mean, okay, you get the buff, but you lose 2 members from your team. So, well played. Good reaction by High Ego as well to go there. Because he's having a rough lane against this Fiora. As we said, the possibility of Fiora buying the lifesteal early on really makes trading not favorable anymore for the Wukong in that lane. So you can see the CS differential building up. But he's able to make a play for his team with the teleport, which is super huge for him. He doesn't really need to beat Bad Pie early on here. Looks like Ekbembo is there to shove in that wave, make sure that the lane resets as well for his laner to come back.
And yeah, that was a good reaction there. They went for the invade. They instantly saw the fact that there was a ward in the river, teleport from Wukong, the High Ego jumping in there. And finding a good Cyclone, and then a great combination with Thornton's onslaught of shadows as well, of course. And that's what we said in the beginning. Dutch community team has possibilities if they find the early aggression, if Thornton's able to, put in the early aggression, early gank. That's of course something that Hecarim can do really well with his kit. And then they could pull ahead, and then of course if you have a team that's full of damage dealers and they don't do damage, then you'd have nothing left.
And of course, the only real carry on the side of Dutch community team, it is the Kai'Sa, it is for arrogance, and he's 3-0-2, which is ideal for them. He's also building a lot of flat AD items, which is probably already enough for him to upgrade the Katarine, while Bad Pie is being engaged upon.
Yeah, also Shadow's going to find the fear, and Bad Pie is going to try and run away from that one. Good riposte on the Cyclone, and he needs to flash out of that one though, so they do burn the flash.
You can see how slippery Bad Pie is on Fiora. I mean, the dash constantly reduced with the cooldown. Phoenix play might get stunned up here.
He does get stunned up, but it's not going to be enough. The snip on Arrogance does basically no damage. And yeah, he's just not where he wants to be quite yet. Of course, Gwen into the late game going to be a lot stronger right now. Still trying to just farm up. However, of course, he's only 4 farm up on the Hecarim, and Hecarim's 1-0-4. 100% kill participation. He's just doing a lot more work on the map right now than Gwen is at all.
Yeah, it is expected as well, and also let's not forget this composition from Iron Squad. The later the game gets, the scarier it will be, in my opinion. You have the Vayne, you have the Kali, Gwen, Fiora, they scale so insanely well. So if they were ahead at this point in the game, yeah, it would almost be over already, with that composition. But the fact that Dutch community is taking the lead is exactly what they need for this game, because they don't need to rely on the late scaling for them to come back. They really need to make the plays now, and that's what they're doing, so really commendable to them.
Yeah, they're doing what they should do, and they're trying to pull ahead in the only way that they can. And they're doing that pretty well. Of course, the Akali is not really being shut down. However, of course, you would want Akali to have some kills in the early to mid game, and because Karma's Karma, Akali has no real possibilities to jump onto her with taking her down. So yeah, they're effectively keeping Akali a little smaller than she would potentially be with a little bit more kills. So yeah, once again, Karma into Akali, it's pretty okay.
Yeah, they played it yesterday. I feel like their Karma first pick is a good option for them, because they know Akali is open. If they pick it, they can always swap it to the mid lane. If not, they still have options plenty. It's such a good first pick while they're engaging on Bad Pie. Doesn't choose the parry!
Well, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Riposte gets used eventually, but Thornton's going to pick that one up. 2-1-4 on the Hecarim.
I mean, the chances of Bad Pie getting out there alive are slim, but there was a little bit late of reaction time on the parry, because depth charge is pretty easy to spell out, but gets knocked up, instantly picked up there. And good way to shut down that Fiora that is really bullying High Ego there. They're putting a lot of pressure on the top side as well, therefore of course giving up that Infernal Drake. And it is an Ocean Soul, so those Drakes, they will be super important to pick up.
Yeah, the Ocean Soul, they're both on 1, so 3 Ocean Drakes. Ocean Soul is definitely going to be a potential strong extra win condition for both teams. Both Iron Squad and the Dutch community team going to want to pick up that Ocean Soul. If it ever gets that far, of course, they might not.
Oh, they're going to fight the 80 carries.
Ooh, it's going to connect. The exhaust is going to come down. Desrim going to retaliate though with his ultimate, and now with the ward in the bush, there's no vision drop, and both carries decide to not really go for it. Does look like Kai'Sa's winning those right now, because without the exhaust, it would have been a different fight.
Oh no, look at everyone rotating to the bot side for Arrogance. He gets a solo kill, but he's gonna pay for it.
Finds the flash kill. It's not gonna be enough though. And that's a shutdown for Akali, and that's exactly what you don't want to see on this champion. 400 gold ahead of the Cardinal right now as the Onslaught of Shadows is going to come through. Braum going to try and peel for his carry here with the ultimate. It's not going to be enough, however, as Achilles is in trouble. He flashes out of there, and they both end up surviving that one, actually in a 3v2 situation, so that's good job by Iron Squad Academy.
And I feel for Arrogance, he had enough game sense to know that he was dead. he knew, okay, they're all there in the river probably, I need to do something, and he gets the best out of the trade. He's still able to pick up Desert, but of course gives away the shutdown, which is not ideal. But yeah, you can see the power of the Kai'Sa coming in. Also playing with the Kraken's Lair, which is extremely ballsy, since there are not really any frontline tanks there, and there's so much threat, so I feel like Shield Bow or Gale Force wouldn't have been that bad either in this game, but you know, going for the raw damage is respectable.
Respectable. Herald is up. Teams are floating around the top side of the river here. Fiora needs to be careful not to get taken down by the Hecarim, who's running top lane once again. Looks like she knows exactly what's going on. Just gonna base here, Vayne as well. And yeah, Dutch community team has a small lead, little bit in the driver's seat. But yeah, Gwen hasn't really come online. Akali hasn't really been able to do what she wants to do. Same goes for Fiora. So Dutch community team is doing a really good job actually at keeping Iron Squad at bay and just playing to their own strengths.
7-2, but only almost 1k gold lead, so it's not that big of a deal at the moment. The CS difference is there in a lot of lanes. I mean, top lane almost 50 CS above, in mid lane 20 CS. Only the bot lane is doing well for the side of Dutch community team right now. They are sieging the mid lane. Oh, within the back, 2 assassins. This is not good for the bot lane. They need to run away top side.
Yeah, this doesn't look great, but the teleport is going to come through. Good job there by 4 Arrogance dashing out of that one, but he gets hit by the Braum ult. Is it going to be enough? Yes, it is. He goes down eventually. Nautilus is still alive, but it looks like Braum is going to be taken down by High Eagle, who's part of the job.
The turret!
He finds it eventually. A 1-for-1 trade, and now Thornton's going to continue. Gwen, I'm not sure he's going to be able to get out of this one. Bipolar Jungler, going to dash over. He's going to be fine, though. And that's a 2-for-2 eventually, but it looks like Dutch community team is going to be able to pick up this Drake for free. And actually, good job by Dutch community, not losing more than those 2 members.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of an out of position play there by the bot lane of Dutch community team. They were overextending without the necessary vision. They get collapsed on, and I honestly thought that this fight was lost the moment for Arrogance fell. I mean, he is the fat carry. There is so much damage on the side of Iron Squad, but it was fine. It was a 2-for-2 trade. Thornton coming in big with the Hecarim as well. And yeah, High Ego, for having the lane that he has had so far, being 1-0-4, is actually pretty good. Even though he is 50 CS behind, he will not be able to stop Bad Pie in the split, but he's making sure that he has the value in the game that he needs to have as the Wukong. So that is definitely good on him.
That's Thornton gonna go in with the Ghost as well, but look at the damage there. He's way too much on his own. Gets to the wall, gets taken down. That's another shutdown. Going towards Ion Squad, and I don't know, that's maybe a little bit too aggressive, too cocky there by Thornton, because imagine he gets the kill on Gwen, and then what?
See, and these are small mistakes, but they have a big impact on the game. If they give away some free kills to these champions, yeah, then it's gonna go south very quickly for Dutch community team. So they need to watch out where they are on the map. They can't get caught like Kai'Sa did in the bot lane earlier on, like they did in the mid lane, and now Thornton gets caught. I mean, that's 3 in a row, boys. 4 in a row might be the end of the game for you. So you really need to watch out how this is going. Achilles already 2-0-1 on the Akali, looking very scary.
It's gonna be 2-0-1. Riftmaker, of course, complete. Looking for the Zhonya's there with the Seeker's Armguard. Armguard in the fray as well. Another Riftmaker on Gwen, so there's some healing in there. We, of course, do have some anti-heal with the Oblivion Orb on Karma, but that's gonna be it for the anti-heal there. So the Akali is gonna stay alive a little bit longer than you might expect in these fights.
You know the arm guard icon? It always looks like a knife to me.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I do see the arm guard, but if you look at the icon for Nashor Stood above it, it's like the same form, you know? It's a knife, man. It's not an arm guard.
Or leg guard.
I need glasses. I see it, but I don't see it at the same time.
I need a magnifying glass to check this one out. A Herald. Gonna be started up here by Gwen. Top lane kick. Birimbo is the one who has to deal with Fiora. And I'm still waiting to one day see an AP Fiora. It's never gonna happen.
Is it good?
There's a lot of damage on Repose.
and that's it.
But there's a lot of damage on Repose.
There's potential.
I mean, 25 seconds, you have a lot of damage, which is very easily jukeable as well.
But you know, in these days, there's so little CC that Repose is actually being nerfed by the meta.
That is true. So then you kind of have to go AP because otherwise your Repose sucks.
Where? You know,
Right.
I can't argue with that as Thornton picks up the scuttle on the top side. Achilles fighting high ego here. Don't think the Monkey King can win this, but he is sure as hell trying, going very low.
Yeah, he's gonna use the Cyclone to just get away from Achilles' Akali. And yeah, a 1-0-4 Wukong with 140 farm is unable to beat the 2-0-1 195 CS Akali, of course. Akali just does more damage in general.
It's rough to build against these damage threats from Iron Squad Academy because they have so much mixed damage. Oh, for Arrogance, don't do it. Don't check it. Oh, he's spotted. Can he get picked off?
And he's not really looking at the map, it seemed like, because he had vision. It looked like he was looking at the other side of the map. Eventually, he does get out, though.
I was thinking Bipolar would have engaged with the needlework, trying to get the slow one for Arrogance, but decides not to pull the trigger there. Maybe wasn't sure if Arrogance was alone there. Now a hook lands.
Fight in the mid lane is gonna go through Azero and gonna go really low, gets taken down by 4 Arrogance, but now Thornton and Funny Spell are gonna be low as well. Thornton needs to help. And that's the exhaust coming down on 4 Arrogance. He's gonna be taken down. And King Barimo, he's gonna have to be careful not to get jumped on too hard. Hook gonna go juke there by Achilles. And they're getting pincered here a little bit. Wukong is coming in from behind. He does have his cycle up in a couple of seconds. 1 or 2. There it is. Uses the first one on Bipolar Jungle. He doesn't get hooked as Nautilus hooks into the wall. Look at the healing from Bipolar Jungle. That's ridiculous. High Ego is going to get taken down. Thornton is back in the fight as well, but he's not going to be able to do anything as Achilles once again jumps in. He is gonna get stunned, but it's not gonna be enough.
Oh boy.
He heals too much, he's too tanky. There's way too much damage and not enough on the side of Dutch community team, and this could be the point in the game where Ion actually turns it around. The fight is not over yet. Desrim gonna go in once again with his Vayne, as the Drake has been started by Fiora.
And this is where you can see the strength of this Iron Squad Academy composition. They have so many threats, and the threats almost all have sustain as well, with the Rift Makers, with the lifesteal that they are buying. I mean, you do have some flat base damage on champions that Dutch community team have, but it's not enough to stick on champions with that much sustain, so they really do need for Arrogance to do anything, and he uses Killer Instinct eventually to kill Azeron there, the Braum, which is, you know, not the target that really needs to go. It's literally all the other 4 that needs to go. And eventually get chased down by Desrim, who of course is impossible to play against when he uses the exhaust. So extremely hard for Dutch community, as expected, when you give some gold over to these champions on the side of Iron Squad Academy.
They're gonna need to be careful that they don't do these same things over and over again. They got caught out a little bit in the mid lane, not expecting the amount of healing on the Gwen eventually either, because Gwen went really low and then just went back to half HP, then went really low again, then went back to half HP. So there's just a lot of renewal. I wanted to like make a TFT reference, but I suck. So it's just, let's just leave it at healing.
All right.
Yeah, let's just leave it there. Slayers, per favor. Arrogance is taken down really low. Bad Pie might be in trouble. He'll get cycloned up. He's gonna flash over the wall. Not gonna be in time. And meanwhile, that does mean that there's a lot of members in the bottom lane.
Oh, they're doing this so fast for Baron.
DCT Achilles is gonna go in the Baron. He's gonna get dropped. Jonah tries to keep it alive, however. And it's not gonna be enough. High Eagle gonna jump in. Doesn't have that cyclone up at this point. So they're gonna have to be careful here. They take away the vision. Are they gonna? No, they're not.
This was so scary, because if they would have fought there for Arrogance was not near to join them in the fight, I don't think Dutch community would have won this, but the information wasn't there for Iron Squad Academy to make that call, to go all in. Now they do start the Baron, but I mean, Thorn is very low. Is this the fight that they want?
King Benimo gets taken down really early, and this is not a good fight for DCT. Dextrum is basically free hitting at this point. He does get stunned up and get taken down.
Oh, he got it!
A lot of damage, but Achilles is gonna find the damage eventually. Or
can he do it?
Triple kill Zonya's by the Akali is not gonna be enough to save him. Ooh, it might be enough. He jukes the dash from Achilles. He's gonna do too much damage. Damage gets dropped here. He'll gonna come down as a shutdown and a delayed quadra. Arrogance really well played.
For Arrogance, the only real carry on the side of Dutch community team actually does it in this fight, and it looked very bad for them to start off because he wasn't immediately there to do the damage, but it was clutch enough, and he gets the outplay at the end as well with the summoner spell, the heal on to the 1v1 with Achilles. 10-3-3, Kai'Sa looking extremely strong now, but as you see, the total gold difference is almost not there.
It's really close, 300 gold for Dutch community team. And you can see it in the fights as well. The fights are actually really close. It looks in the beginning like Iron Squad's taking the win because of the fact that they just have so much damage, but then somehow Dutch community team is able to survive. Thornton is able to stop Bad Pie from basing here. He was caught window shopping, takes so much damage here. The healing from Bad Pie as well. Cycle number 1 gets used. Onslaught of Shadows for the stun. It's not going to be enough. And Thornton picking that one up. Never a good idea to go window shopping.
But you know, it was a shopping spree for Dutch community here. They get some gold, they start off the Baron, and I don't think Iron Squad Academy will be able to stop them in time. It's going so fast with this damage from 4 Arrogance. They already got it!
Okay, Thornton picking that one up. Fairly simply, actually. And, yeah. That's, close to a free Baron here for the DCT.
it was looking very grim for DCT at some point, you know? Iron Squad Academies, carry champions, their carry-oriented comp was getting out of control. They were winning fights, they were winning skirmishes, they were getting picks. And DCT was getting caught left, right, and center. But now they really regrouped. It was the outplay for Foragans. They get the Baron, they get the pick, and now they're looking for another fight in the river.
Ooh, Jungler gonna get caught out here. He's in a lot of trouble, gets taken down eventually for Arrogance with another kill. 11, 3, and 3 onto the Kaiser. And now they might be able to find a trap here. Fun Display gonna get caught out easily. Kegberimo is gonna go low. There's a lot of damage. Blue team, it does take down the Dragon. That's for Dutch community team.
Arrogance dead.
Fiora is disrupting the backline. Is he gonna go down eventually? Onslaught of Shadow gets used for only him. And Karma goes low, half HP, needs to get out of the fight. Thornton looking.
He's so tanky.
He's too tanky.
What?
Too much damage. What is going on? Achilles is not able to take him down. Zeron and Achilles need to run away. And if only Kegberimbo was there to help his jungler out. Thornton, yikes.
How do these fights look in favor of Iron Squad, but eventually Dutch community team get the win out of it? I mean, they do pick up the Dragon, which is the must-have objective for that fight. You know, that's what it's all about. They are on Soul Point now, so the win condition is very, very close for them in the form of the Ocean Soul. For Arrogance is picked up by Bad Pie, and I feel like, okay, the carry is down, you know, there are so many threats still alive, it's over. But Thornton, he turns around, kills Fiora, and is able to actually fight off Achilles and Azeron in the 1v2. I mean, how crazy can this guy get with his Hecarim? Bannable?
Definitely bannable, but then maybe you leave the Gragas open, and I think he might be at least as good on the Gragas as he is on Hecarim. Of course, as a champion, Hecarim might have some... Well, he has different possibilities. If Gragas is in the 1v2 situation there, he might have a bit less outplay potential. Achilles might get pincered here, actually.
Oh, they're looking for Achilles.
Is going to come through. They're definitely looking for him. Braum going to try and peel for the mid laner. Look at the damage onto the Wukong. It is, of course, the clone. Doesn't matter at all. But that's a lot of damage.
It's good that he's able to Juliet, of course. I feel like Iron Squad Academy, they are getting the feeling that they cannot win these 5v5s. 5v5 fights. Damn, son.
Come on, bro. Try again.
that they can't win it.
Team fights.
So they are using the split push Fiora in their advantage. Meanwhile, it is starting to look like a base race. No one is really there to stop Dutch community team from pushing in the base here. It's only Akali and Gwen. Well, of course, Haigo going back to the Fiora duty.
That's actually...
Oh
the
no, the
damage is
the heal!
For the heal, just not gonna be enough to keep him alive. And now Gwen and Hecarim battling it out here. The ult from Gwen is gonna go wide. Look at the damage there from Hecarim.
Oh no.
As Tidus is trying to survive this. Look at the healing. It's gonna be more than enough to survive this one. Funny Split is gonna be taken down as well. And yeah, they find the inhibitor without really any contest, but now they're just gonna do the same thing to Iron Squad in the mid lane. Can they maybe end?
Yeah, this is bad. The dead timers are super long. Teleport is up for Achilles. They might want to try to go for the Nexus turrets here. It's all on high ego. He really needs to do something. You can't wait in the base for this to be over. You need to fight now. Your turrets are up, man. Come on, go for it!
Nexus turret number 1 gets taken down. Bad Pipe finds the stun with the repose. Cyclone number 2 gets used. Nexus turret number 2 is going to go down as well. That's an ace for Iron Squad Academy. 20 to 20 kills. Hardly a gold lead, but the fight in the bottom lane... Ooh, the bottom lane base, I guess, from Iron Squad is gonna take down Dutch community team completely. They started off strong. They had the strong Hecarim and a Kai'Sa, but then they stayed a little bit too long in the bottom lane and they get taken down.
You can see how it goes against a composition like that. You make one mistake, one bad fight, and they just take your whole Nexus. Yeah, it's too bad. They lose the game, but it was a nail-biter of a game. Could have gotten both ways, but yeah, you did feel that the threats were there for Iron Squad Academy. Maybe this community team should have played a little bit safer, waited for their Ocean Soul to spawn, and really force Iron Squad there for a fight instead of fighting split map. where they did not have the advantages. Of course, their threat can only be at one spot at a time, and he got deleted fairly fast by Achilles as well. So, yeah, well played by Iron Squad Academy, and of course, Niels' draft did it again.
Yeah, Niels showing his coaching and drafting abilities here as Iron Squad is going to take the first game here of this best of 3 between Iron Squad and the Dutch community team. Second game is going to be underway in a couple of minutes. We're going to take a small break, get a drink, get some snackies, I don't know, get some fresh air, and yeah, we'll see you in a couple of minutes.